Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Krystal from West TDC, and today I'm here with my guys from Wake Up, and today we're just going to be getting into something that's a very serious topic. We're going to be talking about domestic violence.
Whew.
Well, domestic violence.
Speak to the people for that.
All right, so a lot of people are gonna not agree with me here, but I think there's a level to domestic violence in terms of like the Western world. So in certain instances, like if, let's say a wife called the cops on the husband for like insulting her without actually striking her, that's technically domestic violence. Do I agree upon that? No. I don't think it's as serious of a matter as other matters such as like police brutality and so on and so forth. Obviously, it's more closer to a women's issue, even though you have male that are, mistreated. But if you're a guy and you're getting beat up by your wife or whatever, that's your issue. You should probably not get beat up by your wife. Again, it's an unpopular stuff that I'm saying, but again, I just don't see it as a huge issue. I see it as a back burner. You can heal from a few punches. So yeah.
No, I disagree. I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay.
And let me tell you why. Because you got men out here that's getting their ass beat by their wives and their girlfriends. I know it might sound funny, but it's true though. You got men out here that's getting beat downs from their women because they probably don't want to hit the woman back.
Okay. Again,
and that's not a bad thing that
I'm
you're not a man beater.
You shouldn't hit a woman back, but at the same
but
time,
you're making it like it's unimportant. You're making it like if a woman gets hit, then it's important for her to seek justice or what have you. But if a man getting his ass beat, then we don't talk about that. We're not calling anybody.
You shouldn't. I mean, how you getting beat up by a girl?
Why not?
Hold on, wait.
How you getting beat up by a girl
Why
that bad? Like, for example, like if you're around getting smacked by you can run away. What is she gonna catch you?
I mean,
pick you up, slam you
hold
down?
on for day. But she could start smacking you. Then before you know it, she picking up bugs and she throwing them at you.
Whoa.
And she picking up vases and she hitting it. She grab a knife. She might try to stab you or cut you.
If she
it's one thing leads to another for day.
So
So
I'm not going for violence or whatever, but to protect yourself.
So let me ask
in
you
a
a
way.
question.
If a girl is grabbing a knife or she's hitting you, cold clock her, knock her senseless. Again, it's gonna
So
sound
you're saying if you're a girl and she come and she smack the hair off your head,
yeah,
you're telling me that you are going to take your hand and backhand.
Well, if she was smart enough to come and smack me across the face, then she's cool enough to take a punch to the chin and go night night.
So you don't have a problem with hitting females? Then.
All right. So you're saying that all this talk about equality, you can smack me, then you can equally take a smack back to your face.
For day. She's a woman, though. I mean,
is that supposed to mean something?
No,
equality is
wait a
equality,
minute.
right?
Right. All right.
I'm
Okay.
ready
All
to
right.
jump over this table.
No, don't get him,
I'm
Krystal. Don't get him.
I'm just
So I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Domestic violence, point blank, is a problem. Man, woman, because you have men that beat men, women that beat women, and it's vice versa. But I feel as though if someone does clock you or do whatever, if she got a knife, yeah, she has to be eliminated.
Yeah.
If he has a knife, he has to be eliminated. But I don't think it's something to where as though if a woman calls for a male, they should be treated any differently than a male calling for a female when they need assistance, because that humility, they don't want to hurt that other person or whatever it is, or they just don't want to fight back at all. They'd rather do it the legal way. Now, nothing's wrong with the legal way. Yeah, you might want to clock somebody, but if you do it the legal way, okay, that may benefit them. But I tell you what, if somebody, like you said, is coming at you at a knife or a weapon or something like that, you defend yourself. Now, you ain't got to clock them and they go night-night.
Right.
I'm
That's
not
right.
saying, by the way, I have never clocked anybody to go night-night.
But
No
you
problem.
said you would, though.
Right.
I would. Like, if a girl coming at me with a knife, she's going to sleep.
I mean,
Can you just put her in a
So let me-
chokehold?
Can't you just take? Come on, Krystal.
Okay,
We
so
need a
the
woman's
issue
perspective.
that I have with what you're saying, because I'm gonna be real with you, that sounds like a self-defense thing to me. If somebody is coming at you with something, it's only natural that your first defense is to do that. But us as adults, us as men and us as women, we need to learn to keep our hands off of each other, period. And if it's getting to a point where somebody is coming at you like that, like you said, you a man, you can turn around and run. I feel like the issue with men that, get beat on by women, and the same thing with women that get beat on by men, it's an embarrassment issue. Nobody wants to be embarrassed to their family. Nobody wants to be embarrassed to their friends. If you a dude, a big dude, a burly dude, and you got bruises all over your body because your girl is beating the mess out of you, you not gonna want to go to your boys and be like, yeah, man, my homie, she beating me up. Because they gonna look
She
at
got
you
chill
like,
out.
They look at you like you a
but
bastard.
what I'm saying is that it's not something that should also be glorified, because if you are that man and you go to your homeboys and tell them, yeah, my girl, she beat the mess out of me, you see what she did to me, your homeboy's gonna tell you what? Why you ain't hit her? That's something that us as adults, we need to stop glorifying that type of behavior within each other, because it's not good for a man to hit another man, a woman to hit another woman, or and vice versa. And a domestic violence issue, it goes further than just you and your spouse. You look up domestic violence, is basically any type of violence between your spouse or within your cohabitated where you live at in your environment. So that can be with your children, with your parents, with an elder. So it starts young.
So, Krystal, why do you feel that people stay in violent relationships, abusive relationships? Because I know people personally, they're getting beat up, tossed around, just thrown every which way, and they still stay. And I mean, these people are here cheating on them in their face, making babies in their face,
Right.
Just doing them all kinds of dirty. And it's like, sometimes you want to speak up and speak out in their defense, and they get mad at you and they turn on you, and all you're trying to do is diffuse the situation. So why do you feel as though that happens?
I mean, to be completely honest, it's a manipulation thing. You know, some of these people that are being abused by their significant other, and we're not just talking about every once and again fight where you and that's still not right, where you may have the urge to smack, because we all need to learn how to control our emotions.
Yes.
Remember, fighting is an impulsive emotion.
Yes.
So you don't know how to control your emotions when you fight.
Yeah.
Period. So going back, just piggybacking off of that, you know, as far as you trying to tell somebody and help somebody get out of it, or, you know, they get mad at you, of course they gonna do, because nobody wanna smell their own stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And people stay because, I don't know, they might not have nowhere to go. They might be living with this person. They might not have housing. They might feel like nobody else is going to want them. Some of these people have kids by these people that they're being abused by. They may feel like they don't want that person to be with somebody else. They may know that this is not necessarily love, but at the end of the day, I don't want anybody else to take that away.
I would say, to piggyback off of that, that if you're gonna come to me for advice, but if you're not gonna receive the response that I'm gonna give you, please don't tell me your personal business. If you're getting beat up or you're getting slinged around, don't tell me, because that's not gonna sit well with me
Right.
if I care for you. So I would rather you just keep that to yourself. If at the end of the day, you're still gonna turn around and go home to the very same person who's abusing you. That's just how I think.
I don't think that necessarily, because you do have some people who they will open up and they will tell you things, and although it may seem to you it falls on deaf ears, they listen, but we move at our own pace. We move when we're ready to move. So for those people that I do know, and I have been in situations where it has been domestic violence, either I or the people around me, we had to get out of our own stink. We had to learn and figure it out along the way. It wasn't just I could tell you my story all day long, and you tell me, well, that's not good for you, and I'll just be like, okay, but I'm going to go back home and I'm going to continue living my life. But it has to be a situation to where as though I have a turning point, and then I continue to grow or move.
I understand that. So if you're gonna keep telling me the same thing over and over, but you're getting the same result, what do you keep telling me for? I mean, if I'm telling you, hey, maybe I think you need to get out before it's too late, but you keep constantly over and over and over going back to the very same thing that's causing you harm and headache, what do you keep telling me your business for?
Well, you want to go first, or you want me to
Go ahead, Ms. Kristen. Go ahead.
I'll go first. But you know what I've learned, because I'm a very open person, I'm a very blunt person, especially when it comes to my friends. I've learned that some people, and they've even said this to me, sometimes people come to you just because they need that ear. They don't necessarily need all of this that come with
They just
it.
need support.
They just need to feel like you have their back, like you're there for them without words. just,
Give 'em a hug or
being,
something?
just being there for somebody, especially going through something like that, because it may seem so minuscule to, people that's not going through it, but when you're going through it, you really going through it. And any little bit of support feels like the biggest. But when you have people constantly talk, that's not right for you, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, that puts,
But it's
You don't
also
wanna
not
hear
what
that.
you say.
Yeah,
It's
that puts
also
that
not
on
what
the
you say,
brain.
but it's how you say
It's
it.
how
though.
you say
so
it.
maybe,
It's how
what if
you
you're
say
coming
it.
to them and you really mean well and you're just having a conversation like, I know that y'all having some issues within your relationship, but enough is enough. I mean, especially
that's-
when you bruised and you battered,
Right.
and you want
Well, if you're telling me that and I have the bruises and I'm being beat, it's obvious. It's obvious it's no good for me. However, whatever manipulation is going on in my mind at the moment, because I'm in that mud or that pit, I'm not able to dig myself out. I'm coming to you to tell you about it, not necessarily for you to tell me what to do, but like Krystal said, I may need that ear, or I just need to know that somebody's on my side, because people in those situations, they reach a breaking point, they commit suicide, they do a lot of different things and cries for help. But if you are that person that's telling them, get out of that person ain't no good, leave them. Sometimes that may seem the best advice to you, but it's not. It's not truly.
After listening to what you guys have to say, and obviously I have never been in this situation before. I don't think I ever will. I could say, I'm going to clock her if she comes, but again, I have never.
Please don't clock her.
Yeah, I have never.
Don't clock her, folks.
Don't do it.
Don't do that, y'all.
Don't clock
That's
her.
jail. Jail.
It's true. I have never been in this situation. I've never experienced it, so I don't know. But after listening to what you guys have said, I did come off a bit arrogant, and I do apologize in a way. But my question is, and of course I'm not going to understand it, why would somebody choose to stay in a place while they're getting hurt? To me, it just seems, again, confusing. Like if somebody's hitting me, I'll just
Well, it's
leave.
a certain level of your mental stability, I will say, because I've been in that type of situation. So it's a certain level of mental stability that you may be, I'm not sure if it's a Stockholm syndrome, but this feeling or this being that I'm with is not my end all be all, but they hold a lot of value to me. And because I'm in this situation, I care for them. I know one day that they're going to come through and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I'm at the situation now where I'm going to just invest, I'm going to stay. Sometimes even people get threatened. Like, if you leave, I'm going to do this to your family. But if it's not a situation like that, they're afraid, right? So, but if it's not a situation like that, maybe I'm just so comfortable and I know things will change, or you are all I have.
Right.
I stay. And I know things will get better, or I know you're, knocking my damn head off every day, but I know it's going to change. And I know if I tiptoe and if I don't do certain things, you won't be mad. I can please you. I know that. But as soon as something hits the fan, we won't have any turmoil, but as soon as shit hits the fan, it's going to be a problem. I know that. So that's, I believe, why some people stay. I can't speak on my personal situation, but I will say sometimes from what I'm hearing or seeing from other people that I have talked to or spoke to, situations like that have come up to where as though, all right, I know this ain't good, and I know this person may not be all the bread and butter to you, but this person is all I have, and I choose to stay. And I just ask you to be in my corner, whether better or for worse.
So let me, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from. But what would you turn on? Okay, let's just say you got family and friends who are trying to be supportive of you as a person. Are you going to turn on your family and your friends in favor of the person that's abusing you? Because I see that constantly. I see it with my friends. I've seen it in my family. Like, you don't like their girlfriend or their boyfriend, they turn into you. I'm sorry, they turn into you completely to the point where it's just like, I ain't dealing with you. They want to fight you now. And I'm sitting there like, all I've ever tried to do is be supportive, and you know I've tried to be supportive.
Right.
And you sit there and you turn on me in favor for the very same person that's killing you. So my thing is like, what do you call that?
Well, that takes willpower on the supporting party's end. So let's say if I'm in a situation where domestic violence is going on in my home, and you two or three, don't forget Krystal, right, you 2 and 3 are my support system. Even if I choose not to leave this person, I still feel as though, because I know you well enough, that you'll support me. Now, if you get mad at me because of my personal decisions and you don't want to support me, and now you want to also cause me domestic violence, that's your willpower, and that's, to me, it shows like a weak-willed person. Like you're not who you said you were. You're not that support system I thought you were.
Yeah, and that just to piggyback off of that goes back to sometimes you just need that ear, you know?
just the ear.
If you are that family member or that friend that's always giving that negative feedback that somebody like a Keith or somebody like a me already knows, you got to get cut. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're messing up my peace of mind that I've decided to have within myself and within my situation. But I'm coming to you because I value what we have as a friendship. I need to know that you're there for me, but I don't need all that extra that come along with it. That's when people get cut off. When you try to start standing up for people, or you start trying to fight other people's battles, that's when they'll cut you quick because now you stepping on their toes. Now, not only do they got to deal with you, they also have to deal with their significant other.
Yes.
Being in their ear, like, I told you, Antoine was no good for you. He always trying to mess up with, or even a female. Yeah, cousin Antoine, he always being no, you know.
I knew it,
stuff like that. You
So
know what
is
I mean?
is it just best to just mind your business and drink your water and stay out of it?
To a certain extent. To a certain extent.
Like
I mean, if
turning the
you
blind eye?
have somebody that is willing to reciprocate that help, then always give it. But you have to really fill out a situation. It's about knowing your intuition. It's about, you know, filling it out. You know, if some people just not ready. Some people just not ready to let that go. Like you said, what makes you stay? Some of these people been in love with these people for years, or what they think is love with these people. Some of these people high school sweethearts. Some of these people grew up together. Some of these people, you know each other's deepest, darkest secrets. Some of these people, you know, like Keith said, hold a lot of value. It's like a weight being held over your head when you're dealing with somebody that's like that.
But as a female, if you were, I mean, do you feel as though that's love though? If it's, I mean, and I understand sometimes when we're in relationships, we go through things. Nothing is perfect. But do you feel as though that's love when you're constantly being beat on and hit on like a punching bag?
I used to. When you get used to something and you still feel that is because going back to domestic, a lot of people don't know how to express their feelings. So when you feel like that somebody's expressing their love by putting their hands on you or by getting into an altercation with you, then you will stay because you have that hope that it will get better. Maybe one day I can love you enough to know that, you know, we don't have to do this. I can love you enough to make you love yourself, because that's really what it is a hate within oneself.
So it's low self-esteem.
Not necessarily low self-esteem, just, you know, it could be childhood issues, it could be emotional, it's trauma. That's what it is. For people to inflict that type of hurt on other people and be insensitive about it, it's a trauma hooked into that somewhere within. I feel like everybody that goes through domestic violence and the people that are the abusers, I feel like all of them have trauma. That's what is allowing that to happen. That's what is allowing you to raise your fist. Like, okay, well, if she walking me, I'm gonna have to knuck if you buck. You feel me? That's what's allowing you to, because either you've seen somebody do it before, or like you said, I'm not having that. It's a trauma within.
Right, and I'm gonna agree with you too, because there's a trauma within, because I've been on both sides. I've been the aggressor, and, you know, vice versa. And it doesn't feel good. And like Krystal said, I had to learn that a lot of those things were traumas from whether it's my childhood or things that I encountered just growing up, you know, outside of the house into adulthood, being by myself or traveling, different encounters I've had with people that I do not even know, how I had to defend myself or prove myself worthy, you know? So I've been on both sides, and it didn't feel good, especially hurting someone that I love versus, you know, somebody out in the streets I don't care about.
Right.
You know, you take those traumas and everything, you put them all inside of a box, and then that's how you sort of learn what you think is appropriate to act on others,
So
and it's not.
Hurt people hurt people.
Pretty
Correct.
bad.
I think she's right about that, in the sense of, I think she actually was spot on. Because technically speaking, I do martial arts, and I do know how it feels to get punched in the face.
Right.
So don't do that one.
So like, it's like if a girl is running, that's what I was like. That's why I was like, she's spot on. Because if a girl is running at me, like, I know what it feels like when she clocks me. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to get clocked by somebody else. I'd rather clock her first.
Right.
And I am from Sierra Leone. I was born there, at least, which is a war country.
Right.
So I think I think in that sense, she is spot on. Again, I don't have experience with this. I've never actually seen it happen. I don't even have friends who have done this. So yeah, everything I said is based off what I would do. Again, I haven't clocked any girl.
And don't.
And I never.
And he won't.
The side eye at the camera.
Right.
I never will.
There is the side eye. He won't clock any girl.
But
Right. No.
yeah, I think she is spot on actually, which is something good for me to learn.
So, Krystal, what advice can you give to people? And I know people can take it, they can leave it, or do whatever they want to do with it. But what advice can you give to people who are in a domestic relationship and maybe they don't know how to get out? Maybe they feel like it's the only thing that they have, or that the only person that they'll ever have.
Yes, man.
Don't put it on me.
Put
I
it
don't
on
know
her.
what to tell you.
Put it on her. Put it on her.
No, but in all seriousness, because it's really not funny. But if you are in a situation like that, my biggest advice to you is just sit yourself down, look in the mirror. Talk to yourself about the person that you used to be, the person you are, the person you want to become, and figure out if your situation fits into your future. And if it doesn't, baby girl, hit the door. Baby boy, hit the door. Because nobody is worth the future that, your universe has already mapped out for you. So if that's the case, and if it's to a point where you just, even if you feel like you don't want to leave, if anybody is putting their hands on you that is supposed to be your peace, you're supposed to come home to, y'all supposed to be loving on each other, and you feel like you're not even safe in your own environment, get out.
And one thing I would like to say before we end the segment is I understand, like I said, everybody got their issues, people go through things, but you can't keep looking at everybody's else history and saying, well, that person beat that person up and that person hit that person, because at the end of the day, you're not going home to those people. You're going home to the person that you're laying down with. So you can't keep on judging your situation off of what Jack, Joe, and Harriet did with their situation. I feel it's very important to tell people that, because I've had so many people come and say to me when they ask me for advice, but Jack across the hall did it, or Susie across the street did it, so what's the difference or whatever? But you're not them and they're not you.
Yeah,
and
Susie jumped off the bridge, you gonna follow her?
Exactly my point. And sometimes I believe that even if people have been in those situations and they've come to you to support you, or at least try to give you some advice, I'll just call it advice. I know sometimes you said people don't want to hear it, but they could be really truthful in what they're saying.
Right.
Maybe they're telling you so that you won't have to go through and experience the very same thing that they went through. Sometimes you gotta understand the message when the message is being given to you. If somebody coming to you and they like, I've been beat up, I've been thrown into walls or under cars or whatever, maybe they're telling you in hopes that it's a little indirect, but maybe they want you to read between the lines like, damn, I'm not trying to go through the same thing, or I'm hoping this person wake up and smell the smoke.
Right.
So I think it's important to understand when people are sent into our lives with information to give.
I got you, but I want everybody just to put your hand on the table like this, right? Just everybody put your hand on the table like this, okay? You see your line, you see your line, you see your line, right? We all going in different directions, okay?
Okay.
So just because you've been through it, or just because you've been through it and you giving up that advice, we can meet in the middle. But baby, I'm gonna keep going. You understand what I'm saying? Because with this line that's been mapped out for me is a different line that's been mapped out for you. And these people probably do appreciate the advice. I know a lot of people that have been like, I wasn't where I needed to be back then. It's a lot of people that's like that. But our paths, like, say, let's just put it into, hypothetically, say I went through this, but along the way you was telling me, don't do that, you shouldn't do that, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. But my end result is now me being a motivational speaker.
Okay.
My end result is now me talking to younger women about domestic violence. My end result is going to shelters and expressing what I've been through to younger people, hoping that I can have the same impact on them as maybe somebody like you had on me, but you didn't know it. You understand what I'm saying?
So people, not to cut you off,
No, go ahead.
people understand what you're saying, even if they don't tell you. They
Even if they don't
hear
tell
what
you.
you're saying.
People not stupid.
Sometimes they're not ready to receive
They
it.
not ready
Correct.
to
It's
receive
not
it.
falling. That's
So
what I'm
you
saying.
just
It's
have
not
to
falling on deaf ears. They're listening, but it just takes time for it to process because they don't move. We all don't move at the same speed.
Okay, agreed. I think the one thing that I have learned from listening to all y'all talk is that you got to allow a person to move at their own pace. You can give a person advice if they want it. Sometimes you shouldn't always give unsolicited advice. But if a person wants advice, just try to be honest and try to really be understanding.
Right.
But always remember that they're still going to move at whatever pace that they desire.
Pretty much. I mean, you could take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So, I mean,
received that
that's
message.
pretty much
I
what
received
that's going like. You okay?
What's so funny?
Yes. No, I was just cause about the horse to water thing.
Oh, okay.
Because I like horses, so I was listening, and I was like, oh, yeah, it took me
Right.
there. But yes,
You gotta-
very
you gotta
serious,
let
very
people,
serious.
Go at their own speed. I think that's the greatest lesson that I've learned. And I think it becomes frustrating because people do seek advice from you, and I think you become frustrated when you're giving advice because you're like, you don't understand. And maybe some things aren't meant for you to understand.
Right.
The one thing you said is sometimes they just want the support. Maybe they just want to come and give you a hug because they can't give that person a hug because they might get beat up. So I know
I get
Yes.
but I feel
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I feel it.
forget, yeah,
A little bit of shade.
Yeah.
But what do you say about the folks that antagonize the situation that they're already in, and then they play the quote-unquote victim? However, it's still a domestic violence issue, but they're the antagonizers. They're not really the aggressors, but there's some form and hidden agenda and then they're the ones that say, oh, well, this person is beating or hitting or doing whatever to me, but yet they're the ones in your face, or they're the ones behind your back throwing daggers. So how do you, what do you say about that?
Well,
Because certainly as soon as those folks that play the victim,
Y'all want him to
or
talk
anything,
about
right?
it?
As soon as those folks, well, yeah, for day. As soon as those folks say that they're the victim or they do things to you to antagonize you, but if it comes to a point where you have to defend yourself because that may be what you know or what you used to do, how do you handle that situation?
in the sense of like, basically they're playing a game, right? So they're gonna use their pain to cause you to go most of the time to jail or some of the sort. Then it might sound messed up, but unpolitically correct or whatever.
Okay.
But return the favor. I mean, this is 2020,
So
right?
you saying tick for tack?
So wait.
Tick for tack.
Patty.
Return
That's
the
what you're saying,
re-
Patty.
return the favor.
For
how?
example, this is extreme. This is extremely extreme, right?
yeah.
A girl runs into the wall and say you hit her, right? All right, break a finger of yours. I mean, when the police
That's
comes,
extreme for that. You telling me
exactly.
He
That's
said it was extreme.
I did say it was extreme. He
said it was
but
extreme. Finger.
in terms of when they show up, if you have more damage on you than her,
They take her.
they will take you.
do one better. Get
No,
yourself.
what? No, wait, hold on, wait.
Okay.
If you have more damage
on
done
yourself?
on you,
Yeah.
they take the next person.
Now they will take you because
They-
if you have a stab wound and she had a black eye,
No, they're taking you where? To the precinct or to the hospital?
to the hospital.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, yeah, no, because if you have more damage, whoever has more damage done, I
Yeah.
believe, they incarcerate.
For me, because you can't do much about it. Because if the police show up and
I'm
she's
just saying
all
from my-
bruised- like
no,
even if
I'm
I'm
just
like, oh, I
saying,
didn't
I'm
I
touch
don't know
just
her.
about tick for tack. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know about tick for tack.
That's
I'm not
my
breaking a finger for
strategy, though.
nobody. I'm not running to a wall, breaking a finger for anybody. However, if there is somebody who is antagonizing me now, I've learned that it doesn't have to be because growing up, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to being aggressive in return because of my environment and how I grew up.
I can't
and
spend
even
a night in
outside of
jail.
my,
I can't spend a night in jail. So
I won't speak on that. But I will
Whole nother
say,
conversation.
Okay.
right? I will say.
Look, I'm like, it was that one time.
No, it literally was that one time. It was that one time.
Never again,
However,
right?
It was a domestic violence dispute too. I
Is
ain't
that
gonna
what
lie to y'all.
happened?
Ooh, y'all,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
because I've been in a situation where it has been a domestic violence situation, and yes, I was arrested and the whole shebang. So
You was
it.
arrested?
I just told you that. You want me to say it
Right,
again?
No, my bad. No, I'm just
One more time.
One more time?
Keith,
Yes.
I couldn't see you getting arrested though. That's
I couldn't see me either being arrested. However, it happened. So it happened. It's there. The universe. Now all of you guys on Wake Up TV know. But it happened. But it also taught.
he's a better person though. So
But of course, I'm a better person now. I feel as though those things that were in front of me, like those blockades, that anger and the frustration that was in front of me, that was, had my blinders on kind of thing, it let me know, of course, I care about this person or I care about my life more than, this is something that I don't want to continue doing. So I had to make a turning point for myself and say, you know what? Definitely don't put your hands on people. Definitely, if the police are showing up, get out of there. Don't continue doing what you're doing and laying down the business. Like, just separate yourself. And also, if this is an entity or a being that's disturbing your energy, you got to be cut out. You got to be eliminated. It doesn't have to be a bad eliminated.
No,
doesn't
yeah,
have to be
don't.
a bad eliminated.
why y'all looking
so
at me like
I
that?
was saying
We
that,
gotta make sure.
Yeah, we got to make sure with you.
If it's meant to come to destroy your peace, you got to burn that bridge.
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
be hard. Sometimes we don't want to let things go. I really hope that one day you wake up and understand that you deserve better.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
with that being said, if you or someone you know is going through domestic violence or domestic abuse, please call the number below if you want to seek help or if you want to seek treatment, because there is help out there. There are resources out there to help you. So please don't give up on yourself.